Morning, Bones.
Good morning, Padre.
So,
Did you get a chance to see what's going on with the Russian negotiations and the Ukraine negotiations and President Trump?
that circus. Yeah, for our conversation the other day, I started trying to look into that, and what a media circus, man! What a media
Yeah,
circus.
they're all over the place. But like we said before, if you look up who owns the major networks, then you can figure that out. But uh, one of the
Exactly.
one of the furthest fetched ones I seen on MSN was they're saying that President Trump is in fear of what's going to happen to him in the afterlife.
What?
Yeah,
You gotta be
yeah.
kidding me.
This is on MSN. So they're saying that Trump must be having some health conditions because he's talking about dying. Um,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
yeah, hold your horses. Hold your horses. I'm not finished with this one yet. Um, oh, I wanted to say what exactly Trump had said.
Okay.
To my best buddy. Um, what he had said was, if I can create peace between Russia and Ukraine, it might help me in heaven. That's what he said.
Okay. That would make sense.
So, and
Uh,
all of this other stuff is pinned to that statement. Almost as bad as the drinking Clorox statement that he made in his first campaign.
Oh my God. It's amazing to me how these twists, how do you interpret or misinterpret or pull that perspective out of that statement. Wow. And
And if
that's what I'm seeing. I mean, like I said, it's media circus. How outrageous can we get at this point?
yeah, it's unbelievable. What else did you read, Padre?
Well, I couldn't find a whole lot on the Putin meeting other than, the press wanting to lead me to believe that now Trump is Putin's puppet, which it's not what I got out of those talks. But you've got another meeting with Zelensky and his European leaders that come to Washington for a meeting now. And the headline of the meeting, let's not talk about what was discussed. Here's your headline: Zelensky changed his attire. Uh, last time they met, Trump kind of slammed him for coming in dressed so casually.
Yeah, he had on a military pants and a military sweater.
Yeah,
You know,
so he came into this meeting. He had dressed up a little bit, and the joke or the jab was made right in the beginning. Zelensky said to him, "I changed clothes. I see you're wearing the same outfit." So
oh man,
so out of these very serious talks, here's where the press wants to go.
right.
Zelensky dressed up and brought a letter from his wife to give to the first lady, handed it to Trump, and said, "This isn't for you. This is for your wife." Two things that they're saying: he came much more prepared for this meeting, and it was psychological to get into Trump's head and get him in his favor. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, there was another one in that meeting, and I don't know what was in the letter to the first lady, but
right.
um, that's okay that they communicate. But there'll be a lot made of that. Um, so in the meeting, they had talked about uh, um, support for Ukraine. President Trump had mentioned that there's a lot of things in the work for security of Ukraine if
Mm-hmm.
the war continued. but he didn't say that the U.S. is going to provide security for Ukraine. You know,
And that's
uh,
this round of talks. So Trump failed to cut a deal with Putin to pause the
yep,
hostiles when he had his Alaskan summit. But in October, his meeting with Zelensky, it kind of turned hostile in the Oval Office,
it
with
did.
Trump kind of getting upset with him. This round turned out a little different, with Trump pledging a lot of help for Ukraine and the Europeans
Yeah,
thanking him for stepping up to create space for peace talks.
right. And then along with the security conversation, that's where I was going to go. He added that there's a lot of support in Europe, so your security would probably mainly come from the other European countries that are in support of helping Ukraine rather than the US of A taking charge of it. It
Right.
might be a little bit orchestrated out of the White House. I don't know. But, you can't misconstrue it to where Trump said he'll back Ukraine 100%, blah, blah, blah. That didn't happen.
Right. Yeah. That is not at all what it was about. He did mention at some point that there may be U.S. troops on the ground there to provide security. But what it did lead to was now they're going to have a meeting with Zelensky and Putin both present, probably some of the UN lead or UK leaders there as well.
Right, right.
And at least peace talks are going to happen.
Right. Whether or not they come to an agreement, another story, because uh, Putin is the one making some demands. You know, uh, Zelensky said he's willing to negotiate, but would he give in? Would he give in to Russia's demands? I'm not too sure that he would.
Yeah,
So
and that's the thing. This we're talking about major conflict. And the statement was made by Putin in the meeting of the summit in Alaska that had Trump been president instead of Biden, the war probably would not have started. Um,
right.
but how much does he really want to end this thing? Putin's always been kind of underhanded, and you can't take much of what he says at face value.
Yeah,
He'll say one thing and do another.
I don't know that he really cares whether it ends or not. If he can get the land mass that he wants, that's what he wants.
Right, right. That's what he was after in the beginning. Uh, is he wants that property. He wants that landmass. And you had mentioned Ukraine used to be part of Russia, and they've broken off from it. Uh, as I look at the overall picture in that area, and one of the reasons that the U.S. and some of those other countries might have interest in it is some of these territories that Putin wants are militarily strategic, and he would be able to place things there that may be able to reach the U.S., that may be able to reach some other areas. So there is cause for the U.S. to be involved in trying to figure this out, keep peace, and perhaps keep those territories for the Ukraine. Uh, don't know as it's going to happen. I mean, we're in the talk stage. We have been for quite some time.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting when they all get together with the other uh, leaders from around the world. Hopefully, uh, some negotiations can happen and some resolutions may come, and hopefully the killing can stop. That's where President Trump's focus is the lives that have been lost. People don't realize that that's what it's about for President Trump, but that's what he wants. It's unnecessary killing.
Right. Lives lost. He always has the American citizen in the forefront, but the human factor of lives lost, of people being killed in these wars, innocent people. The military people, okay, that's, you buy off in a war, that's one thing. But there's a lot of innocent lives that have been lost, and his humanitarian approach is where this is coming from.
Right. And that don't get publicized much, you know. I
Mm-hmm.
don't get put out there. They're more worried about what he's thinking about in his afterlife than they are the human lives that he wants to save in Ukraine and Russia, between the two.
Right. And I think that these headlines are showing that the press really doesn't want the context of that to get out. They want to cover it up with how Zelensky dressed, with the personal relationships, who's
Uh,
who's best
yeah, I
friends
never,
with who.
yeah, I
Uh,
never thought that peace negotiations would become a Prada event.
right, yeah, fashion show. Um, we had mentioned him giving this letter to Trump, and it was for Mrs. Trump, not for President Trump, and it comes on the heels. It was another psychological thing because uh, Mrs. Trump had sent a letter to Putin prior to the Alaska thing, and so the wives becoming involved. He was trying to show that, see, we're trying to do the same thing here. Uh,
Right.
and this is what the media wants to focus on instead of the outcome of the talks or even the direction that
Yeah,
that
what
we
what
are
had
looking to
happened,
go.
what actually happened in those negotiations would be more interesting to the general public than dress that or how Zelensky dressed or the letter to the president's wife.
Right. And the fact that this meeting turned from I hold all the cards, you're not in charge here, to I will pledge to help provide security and negotiate peace.
Yeah,
Uh,
and there was a demand inside of that. Trump said before any of that would happen, there had to be a ceasefire. You know,
right,
so
right.
that was set in. That's what the public needs to know. It's not like Trump's like whatever the media is saying, uh, Putin's puppet or giving in to Zelensky. What it actually is negotiation is there has to be a ceasefire before the United States will even get involved with the security that way.
Exactly.
You know. So
So
anyway,
we've got the meeting scheduled. Well, I don't know if it's scheduled yet. It's the
but not
meeting. The meeting
yeah,
is going to be set, and it's been agreed
yeah,
upon
right.
with
They
Putin,
have to they have to
Zelensky, and
make it
Trump
fun.
all present. Uh, so to me, that's at least some kind of headway. We'll see what kind of headlines the press can come up with there. Maybe it'll turn into a Miss America or a Mister National President, and maybe they'll have to do a talent show. Evening wear competition.
Yeah,
I don't know.
they'll have a model walkway and everything.
Yeah, we'll see how that one rolls. But in the meantime, folks, just know that efforts are being made. And although the media wants to make a mockery of this and wants to make their judgments on what's going on and who's best friends with who, and uh, we do know that President Trump is Mr. Art of the Deal, man. He has an agenda. He's making headway. And that's what we need to recognize. Not this media circus that's being put on. And I guess we'll follow up on this one after the meeting between Putin, Zelensky, Trump, and other world leaders to see where where it's at.
Yeah, that sounds good to me, and I hope everybody out there can make sense of what the media is putting out and dig through it and get to the truth. Uh, Stay positive, everybody.
All right.